Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Ribhu, and I'm here to talk trash.
Oh, good.
Particularly Garbology.
Okay.
Now, what is waste? A high schooler like yourself, a 13-year-old in her middle school project, she said it's the stuff we've lost interest in, and it's spot on. If you lose interest in your phone, or you lose interest in your shirt, it becomes waste to you.
Yes.
Waste is also a result of convenience and cost. Say I have this T-shirt and I need to repair it, stitch it, because it's ripped. It's inconvenient. I have to go out to a tailor. It becomes waste. If it's too expensive to repair my phone, let's say the price to repair a phone is half the value of a new phone, I'll probably go out and buy a new phone. So a lot of waste is created as a result of convenience and cost. Now, the dictionary says it's unwanted or unusable material, but it also says byproducts. Substances and byproducts. Now, when we think of things we throw away, you're not thinking of everything that went into making that phone or went into making this shirt. You're thinking of just throwing the shirt away or throwing the phone away. Now, the waste we produce around the world varies, and it varies within cities, within countries. But the per capita, so the average waste a person produces around the world, is such. The US produces the most waste in the world at around 2.08 kilos per person per day, compared to Canada at around 800 grams per person per day. And then you have India, which is at 420 grams per person per day, followed by China. Now, the waste we produce and we throw away in our bins is just really the tip of the iceberg. In the total garbage produced in the whole world, municipal solid waste, so the waste we produce in our cities and towns, is just 2.5%. 3.5% is construction and demolition. It's transporting shirts from factories to me. It's transporting my phone from some factory in China to a shop where I bought it in. 18% is special waste associated with energy production and mining, so the energy used to produce a shirt or to make a mobile phone. Now, 76% of all the waste around the world is converting natural resources into products we use and throw away every day. It's converting cotton into a shirt. It's converting oil and rare earth elements and some metals and silica into a phone. Now, we believe at Wasteless, if you manage this 2.5%, if you manage the products you buy and use every day, you have a massive influence upstream, because that's where most of the waste is produced. This is the global strategy for waste management called the waste hierarchy, and it rates most favorable to least favorable options in waste management. Now, the most favorable is to avoid waste. Don't buy a shirt, don't buy a phone. Then the next one would be to reduce it, buy less shirts, buy less phones, or reuse. And then there's recycling. It's funny because most of us think, when we think of waste management, we think of recycling, but it's actually quite down on the list. Then there's energy recovery, and finally there's landfilling. Now, this is very important for all Indians because this is our favorite waste disposal method. We produce 500 million kilos of waste every day in this country. 94% of it goes straight to a landfill. And that's because most of our waste is mixed. If you're in your average household, you don't have a separate bin for organic. So you're mixing your banana peel with the plastic bag you bought your bananas in. Just 5% is composted. Now, this is really alarming because in India, 50% of our waste is compostable. But we're dumping it in one bin, and that's why it's going to the landfill. And just 1% is officially recycled. Now, these are government data. We have a massive informal network that recycles a lot of the waste. So I would estimate about 15% gets recycled by rag pickers, waste pickers. So it's clear that we need to change our behavior. We need to start segregating waste. We need to separate that banana peel from that plastic bag. Now, take the very talented and strong Eduardo here. He was in his home, and he dumped everything in one bin, his banana peel and his plastic bag and his favorite food. Now, he was unconscious about doing something wrong. He didn't know he was doing something wrong. He didn't know most of that waste from that bin went straight to the dump because it was mixed. Now, along came an awareness effort in Uruguay, and they told him that it was wrong to dump waste, and that's what happened. It went to the dump site and caused pollution and couldn't be recycled. So suddenly he became conscious of doing something wrong. So from being unconscious of doing something wrong, he was suddenly conscious. And more awareness was given to Eduardo, and he decided to go out and buy a second bin and put the banana peel in his organic waste bin, put the plastic bag in his other waste bin. So what happened here is he consciously did the right behavior. This took a lot of effort. Now, behavioral psychologists say is if you do consciously right behavior for 4 to 6 months as an adult, it becomes habitual. You don't think about it anymore. You're doing the behavior unconsciously right. And this is exactly what we want to do at Wasteless. We want to change behavior so that all this waste doesn't end up going to landfills. So if you look at this linear system, we extract products, raw materials, we grow cotton, we produce a shirt, transport it to a shop, we buy it, use it for maybe a year or two, gets ripped, we chuck it away, and most of it ends up in the dump. Now this is what I'm really curious about. How can you change this linear system? How can you change, and what's the best intervention point? Because we have limited resources, and we have limited space for landfills. So this system, this linear system, is not sustainable. And we believe that, there's many intervention points, but probably the best one is consumers. And within consumers, we believe that the future generation, the youth, you all, are the best because you have a vested interest. You're inheriting the landfills that we're creating today. What's more is that you can change behavior faster than Eduardo or I can. That what took maybe 4 to 6 months to do for Eduardo or myself would take you guys a month. And you're a closer affinity to the environment. So this is why we created Garbology 101. It's an educational toolkit with 101 activities designed to create long-term behavioral change, increase awareness about waste, and its specific impact. So when you throw away a battery in mixed waste, what happens? This is what we want to teach you. We've got a teacher's guide. We've got different levels because we couldn't do standards. We're aiming at government schools and private schools. And like we heard this morning, the government schools aren't at the same level as private schools. We're trying to look at waste through different windows or themes. So we're looking at just waste as the yellow theme, segregation. Then we're looking at avoidance or reduction, the pinnacle of the waste hierarchy. We look at conscious consumerism, which we try to empower you to consume more consciously. We're looking at systems change. We're looking at resource conservation and whole school activities. We have waste bins, stickers. Here you can see 5 basic categories, and we're trying to extend it to more categories. We have fun learning. Now this is like a snakes and ladders themed game. So you throw a dice, you have positive and negative statements, you go forward and back. So say you land on number 2, I only use rechargeable batteries, you'd go forward 3 spaces. Now if you're unfortunate and you land on number 15, I like to break my stuff so that my parents buy me new stuff, you go back to the start. So this is a game to learn about conscious consumerism. So what can you all do? I would urge you to think and then buy. Think of the impact upstream of the products you buy every day, and whether you need them, want them, and how long you'll use them. Try to waste less. Do simple things like carrying a reusable bag instead of getting a plastic bag, or drink out of a refillable bottle. Respect waste pickers. Now these are the heroes in our country, and the only reason why we're not living under a mountain of garbage. Try to segregate your waste at home, if you can, in at least 2 categories. And if your municipality isn't collecting it separate, request them for better waste management services. And probably the last thing would be, please talk trash. Help spread awareness on waste, because this is what we need to do. We need to change behavior in India on a massive level. Now the last message for you today is that we should all think in cycles and act as if everything is in a cycle, because that's what nature is. Nature is nothing but recycled goods. So take your breakfast that you ate this morning. If you're going to compost it, it's going to get broken down by earthworms. And those same molecules that were in your breakfast will be the same molecules in the beautiful lotus flower. Now take Arnold Schwarzenegger's big biceps. Now every cell in that bicep is 100% recycled. Take Beyoncé's bootylicious face. It's 100% recycled. And Albert Einstein's brain cells are 100% recycled. And with that, I'd like to say thank you, and please waste less.